Well, welcome everybody. My name's Jolie DeCleva, and this is Melinda Karlson. And Melinda is a fellow health coach, and she has been just really learning a lot about sleep and has been passionate about the importance of why we need to get a good sleep and how it affects our health. So we decided to team up and talk about sleep tonight. So go ahead. Oh, and Melinda, you're a mom of 4 kids, ages 11 through 2?
Yep, almost 3.
Okay, yeah.
And almost 12.
And we also share homeschooling in common, and that's how we originally met, is through our homeschool group in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to begin talking some facts about sleep and just go through 10 facts about sleep. I've been learning a lot about it and just how important sleep is. There's exercise and nutrition, and then the other one is sleep. And I think we downplay this one a lot because we live overcommitted and overstimulated lives because of there's internet, there's gaming, there's TV, and then there's lights that come out at night. As when you think of the people back in the pioneer days, they were outside working and they were burning calories. And a lot of us, we are at our desk in front of the television or in front of the computer doing work. And there's a lot of stimulation. So this sleep is something that we really have to work hard at, and we have to be committed to it in order to self-care for ourselves. So it's really super important. So I wanted to begin by asking, how many hours of sleep do you guys feel like you get a night? Do we want to go first?
I've been getting about 7 to 8 hours.
Oh, good for you, Louise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
Kelsey?
try to be on a schedule to. I set my alarm to wake up at a certain time.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I'd say 7 to 8 for me too. Probably closer to 8 most nights, but it's broken sleep too. So I mean.
Yeah. Good job, Kelsey.
Say 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep.
Okay.
And it's not always straight through. In my case, I think it's perimenopause. Keeping me awake, but yeah.
Right. Well, good, because, from 26 to 64, it's 78. And then above 64, it is 8 to 9 hours of sleep. So it's really important that we get that sleep in for us. Because every 2 hours or any amount of time that we sleep less can have an effect on our body, especially if we're doing it over a continuous period of time, like when you were in college, right? So the first fact is that we should be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night for the majority. And the great way to figure out when to go to bed is basically count 7.5 hours back. From when you wake up in the morning, count 7.5 hours, and that's the time you should go to sleep. Because basically that half hour allows your mind to kind of just settle. I know for me, sometimes it takes my mind to resettle, and so that you can get those 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And I know all of us have different seasons in our life, and I know for me, I don't think I've gotten a solid night's sleep for probably 4 years, because Mike is going on to 3. And when I'm pregnant, I don't sleep, and he still wakes up at night. And so I am longing for that continuous sleep, because it is so important for us to be able to get that sleep. So we want to shoot for that 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And the second thing is that when we don't get our sleep, it also causes chronic diseases in our body. And that can be linked to coronary heart disease, high blood pressure, and obesity because of metabolic changes, and diabetes. So those are all things that can come out of not getting enough sleep. And the third fact is that the lack of sleep has been really linked to Alzheimer's, especially when you're sleeping less than 5 hours a night over a long period of time. They've linked that with Alzheimer's as they're doing more research. And the reason being is that because during sleep, a remarkable sewage system happens that cleanses all our brain toxins from our brain. And when we don't sleep, all those toxins stay in our brain. And so which is why they're linking it to Alzheimer's. So without sufficient sleep, you fail to get the power cleanse, the brain cleanse that your body needs every night. So it's really important to get that, which leads me to my next one. Number 4 is that a lot of the repair that happens in our body is between the time of 10 to 2. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And of course that can fluctuate, you know, I'm sure that's the kind of like the general, but that's why the regular sleep pattern is so vital, because our body kind of adapts to that, so that so our body can get the repair that we need, which leads to number 5, which is our performance. And they say that sleep, if you're athletic or if you like to do exercises, it actually is the best, greatest legal enhancing drug that you can have, because it's the sleep that actually repairs your body and your muscles to be able to function at its optimal performance. So I know exercise is good. And so when we exercise, a lot of times, you know, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, when you get those achy muscles, sets in within 24 hours. And our body needs to repair that, because the muscles are being broken down. And so our body needs time to repair. And I know for myself, the past 4 years, because I'm not getting the sleep I need, my body is more achy because it's not being repaired. But when I do get my sleep, I feel more refreshed. And I know there's a season that will come. It's just not right now. My little 2-year-old just needs to stop waking up in the night. So we're working at it. But those are seasons. But we want to really shoot for self-care. And so I have to make sure that, okay, I can't stay up too late. That's one thing I can't be doing right now, because he wakes up when he wants to wake up, and he says it's time for me to get out of bed. So he's my alarm clock. I don't think I've set an alarm clock for the past, I don't know how many years. So anyways, so yeah, it really helps with your performance. It helps with your aerobic output. You have higher rates of lactic. So basically, so your aerobic output decreases. You have a higher rates of that lactic acid buildup, you got that sore muscle feeling. You have a decrease in your blood oxygen and an increase in your carbon dioxide. And it also leads to injury, because again, your muscles aren't being repaired like they should. So we just really want to make sure that we're getting the sleep so we can be able to function on an everyday basis and feel good. Any questions with that so far? Comments? Okay, so I'll go into number 6, and I know for women this can be kind of a big one, is that lack of sleep leads to weight gain. Because our metabolism, there's 2 hormones that really play a part into that, and that's the ghrelin, which if you think of growling, to remember it, ghrelin, growling, is the hormone that makes you hungry. So too little sleep swells the concentration of this hormone called ghrelin. And I think I'm pronouncing it right. Julie, does that sound right? Ghrelin.
Ghrelin.
Yeah. So that is what makes you hungry. And so this hormone is, the concentration increases. And then its companion hormone, which signals food satisfaction, which is leptin, goes down. So you have both these hormones that are like working. One is making you feel hungry, and when the leptin is making you feel not satisfied. So then you just eat more. And plus I know when I was in college, what did I do? I'd eat, right? Just to be able to have something to do, or, you know, be occupied. And sometimes it's just that, but it's also your body has these hormones that are going crazy in your body with too little sleep. So that's another thing just to be really conscious of, is that it can lead to weight gain. And then the number 7 is that, and especially as we're, you know, we've been in this COVID thing for, I know March 16th, I think, was the day when Fort Collins, we used to go downtown and play, and that was the last day that we played downtown, and it's been almost a year. And so our immune system, being able to really take care of our immune system is super important. And so when we are not getting our sleep, our immune system is compromised. Okay, and so if we are routinely sleeping less than 6 hours of sleep, that's when your immune system really gets compromised. And I think I was more sick in college. It was probably some of it was just the the stress and the lack of sleep. And I think a lot of, we kind of, you know, think about college, it kind of sets us up for this, like this crazy lifestyle, right? And we kind of have to tone it back and like, okay, this is not how I should be living the rest of my life as. We need to be able to take those appropriate measures to be healthy in how we sleep and how we take care of ourselves. And so it's really important that we, for our immune system, so it can fight off diseases, or, you know, all these the viruses that come. So our body depends on sleep in order to fight that. And so the number 8 is our mental health. And so sleep really can affect our mental health. And I know for me, I didn't pull very many all-nighters in college, but there's one that I remember significantly. I think I stayed up all night. And I remember the next day feeling like my brain could not function. Like I could not function, which really told me it's like how much your brain is dependent on getting that sleep. And so our mental capabilities go down when we're not sleeping. And so when we get a good night's sleep, it helps foster both the mental and emotional resilience. We're able to, I know for me, when I get a good night's sleep, I'm able to like take my kids, like that, the constant like opposition that I feel sometimes that comes on me, you know, I'm able to be more emotionally, calm and not so anxious when I get a good night's sleep. So it's really important for our mental health, because if we don't, then we enter depression, we get anxious, we're not able to, we have these negative thoughts that come into our head. And so for our mental health, sleep is so important. And then number 9 is that the shorter you sleep, the shorter your lifespan, which I think is kind of interesting as I was researching this. And those who sleep less than 5 hours a night have a greater risk of dying at any moment relative to those who are sleeping 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And to me, that's like kind of like, I gotta make sure I get my sleep, right? Because there's only so much that elastic band of sleep deprivation can stretch until it just snaps. So that's why it's so important that we, I guess you can say, keep our bodies flexible, right? And we can, if we stay into that 7 to 9 hours of sleep, we're more able to kind of just go with the flow of life more. So we need to keep that elastic band so it's not always stretched. And so it's really important so that we can have a longer, not just a longer life, but a full life, a life that's full of quality is the word I'm trying to think of. So, and then the last one, number 10, is that what you eat can really affect your sleep. And so we really want to stay away from sugar, foods that are high in sugar, saturated fat, processed carbohydrates can disrupt your sleep. And with that, we want to be really eating more plants, more fiber, more foods rich in unsaturated fats, such as nuts, olive oil, and fish and avocados. And so eating those things can really promote a healthier good night's sleep. And so those are 10 things that there's so many things we can talk about sleep as far as, even the cycle of sleep. But I thought those were really 10 things that I thought were really important. And Julie's going to be sharing with you some tips to get a better night's sleep. What are the things that you can actually be doing on a day-to-day basis?
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so going through the process of intentionally having good sleep is called having sleep hygiene. And sleep hygiene actually starts in the day. How we go through the day is going to very much affect how we sleep. So it's not just something we do right before bed. The goal is to create a pattern and a habit in our life that is automatic, so we don't even have to think about it. And when we create good sleep hygiene, it's a no cost, no risk, way of improving our sleep. We don't need pills, we don't need anything. However, a large percentage of people in the United States are on some type of sleeping pill, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but so some of the daily routines that will help you during the day is to get daylight sun exposure. So get outside and tell your body it's day so that you're getting those UV rays, but you're also, your circadian rhythm is encouraged to be active at night because it's had the day exposure to the light. Being physically active, regular exercise definitely makes it easier to get a good night's sleep. Of course, we know that exercise is great for every single body system. And as Melinda shared, exercising to sweat is important too. Not just walking around the block, but when you can sweat, that's great. Smoking can actually affect sleep. So if you're a smoker, cutting back on that or quitting. Alcohol, I know a lot of moms who talk about having a glass of wine before bed, and actually, while it might psychologically calm your brain, it's likely to keep you awake, and you might fall asleep quickly, but you're unlikely to stay asleep. So avoiding or reducing your alcohol consumption is a good idea during the day. And then caffeine. Caffeine is like the most widely accepted drug in America. We just accept it like no big deal, but it really is a drug, and it's very stimulating. So, depending on how sensitive you are, you may just want to have 1 cup of coffee in the morning if you're a coffee drinker, and avoid afternoon and evening coffee because it is a stimulant. And when you try to rest, your heart's just going to be beating, and you're not going to be able to fall into that deep sleep. Another tip is to not eat late. So some people say 8 o'clock, don't eat after 8 o'clock, but you want to actually back up your eating so that there's at least 2 hours, preferably 3, between when you're eating and when you're going to sleep. So just calculate that for you and your bedtime. And then of course, bedtime activities. So an hour minimum, but again, ideally 2 hours. You don't want to do anything super stimulating right before bed. Another way that you can decrease some of the angst that you have when you're trying to sleep, I think one of the most common reasons why people don't sleep well is because they ruminate on their problems throughout the evening or throughout the night. And one skill that I have learned this year that has made a huge difference in my life in a lot of ways is mindfulness. And that's basically letting yourself feel your emotions in real time. So not setting them aside, not shoving them down, but when you start to feel anxious, you pause and you say, I'm starting to feel anxious. And you allow yourself to feel your feelings and without judgment, and you just say, this noise, and it's too cold in this room, and you just observe, and you're like, okay, well, I'm feeling agitated because I'm cold and I haven't eaten breakfast yet, or whatever it is. And then you ask yourself, well, you give yourself self-compassion, and then you ask yourself, well, what do I need right now? So that you're actually pausing to process the emotions as you're having them, so that at the end of the day, so a lot of what keeps people awake at night is that we're thinking on all the things we didn't do, or that I wish I wouldn't have said, or whatever. And by practicing mindfulness, we can have a totally different perspective because you've dealt with the emotion. If you want to learn more about mindfulness, I have a live workshop coming up on the 27th at my house here in Fort Collins, and then I have a online workshop which is on the 31st, that next Wednesday evening, and we're going to dive deeper into mindfulness. Okay, moving along. The environment in your home is really important for creating great sleep. So obviously you want to have a comfortable mattress and pillow. You want to have the right bedding, like not too much, not too, have comfortable sheets, all that good stuff. Temperature is important. Your room should be about 65 degrees is ideal sleeping temperature. It shouldn't be hotter than that. You should block out lights. So if you have curtains, blackout curtains, that's excellent. And drown out any noise. I love my diffuser because it makes just a little hum. It's like that white noise is really nice. Some people have noise, sounds that they like that they play on their phone all night. We'll talk a little bit about technology in a minute, but and then trying scents. That's a way to create an environment in your room. So lavender and copaiba, vetiver, cedarwood, frankincense. There's all kinds of oils that you can use to create a calming scent. Some people really like a very mellow scent like chamomile. Other people like a bolder scent like vetiver. So it just depends on kind of what you want. A really nice sleep diffuser blend is 1 drop of each of lavender, vetiver, cedarwood, and frankincense. And you put that in your diffuser and it's really nice. It's great for adults or children. So, essential oils, you can use them in your diffuser. You can also wear the oils. So if you wanted to put a combination like the one I just mentioned in a roller bottle and roll it on your skin or roll it on your chest. I like to put it on my wrist because I sort of sleep with my hands up by my face since I smell it all night. And another way that doTERRA products can be helpful for you is that they do have some doTERRA products in capsules. So this one is Serenity, and Serenity has vetiver and lavender in it. This is a great one just to help you get a quality night's sleep. What I love about Serenity is it makes you feel sleepy, but it does not make you feel groggy. So in the middle of the night, if I wake up to go to the bathroom, but I can't go back to sleep, I can take it again, knowing that within 2 to 4 hours, it's completely out of my system and I'm not going to feel groggy in the morning. So that's Serenity. And then there's also Adaptive. And Adaptive, when I was kind of doing research for this talk, one natural solution for sleep is GABA. And that's what's in Adaptive. Adaptive also has some essential oils that are calming, but Adaptive is really a great blend for anxious feelings. So sometimes if I'm struggling, I might take one of each. And then another one, I don't know what happened to my copaiba, but I accidentally grabbed a Triese. I guess if you have allergies, you could take a Triese before bed, but this one is lemon, lavender, and peppermint, and this is for seasonal threats. But copaiba is a great one because it addresses like aches and pains, and so if you're really just uncomfortable sleeping, then copaiba might be one. So one night I might take copaiba and Serenity. One night I might take only Adaptive. One night I might take nothing. But I just like having those tools in my toolbox to help me sleep.
Really, you gave 4 oils a minute ago: lavender, cedarwood, frankincense, and what was the 4th one?
Vetiver.
Vetiver. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I use all those.
Okay. Yeah. And then, I'm the only one here probably that's going through perimenopause, but hormones are a big reason why women can't sleep, and men also go through hormone stages, just not as dramatically as women. So when you have a decreased estrogen, it can really impact your sleep. And I read a really cool study about a doctor from Harvard, and he said that his study found that 2 sessions of 20 minutes a day will reduce hot flashes by 90%. So that's just amazing. we have a lot more control over that physiology than we give ourselves credit for. And so that is 40 minutes out of your day. But if you do take on the behavior of meditating, it's going to help you in so many ways. It's going to help a lot of your body systems, not just help your hot flashes. So there are natural remedies. Other possible supports if you're dealing with hormonal issues is exercise to sweat, get in the sauna or hot tub so that your body is really getting rid of toxins. And then, I already mentioned meditation. And then anxiety is another reason why people struggle to fall asleep. Anxiety is really a distress that is not completely proportional to the situation. So it's when you're like worrying about the future and your reaction is more pronounced than, you know, what might be expected or whatever, and it persists and it keeps going. And anxiety is a terrible thing. And I have had periods of super tight chest and anxiety. So what do you do then? When I was looking up, researching, the top thing to do is said, get therapy. You know, that psychotherapy is really helpful for anxiety. I mentioned the adaptive. This one's great as far as a natural support for those anxious feelings. And then prayer, you know, releasing it to God, doing relaxation exercises. And then doTERRA has something called deep blue polyphenol complex. And this is a complex that a lot of people use for pain, along with copaiba, along with deep blue rub. You know, these are all great if pain is your issue. So we've got all kinds of ways that we can support you, you know, with doTERRA products and with just natural products in general. As far as supplements, it's pretty common and popular to supplement before bed to help assist sleep. Melatonin is probably the most common, and I know we have melatonin chewies at our house because my teenage boys, they also have the hormone stuff going on, and so it supports them. Magnesium's really great, valerian root. CBD oil can help people sleep. Kava, I talked about the GABA that's in adaptive. Chamomile, whether it's tea or capsule. There's something called 5-HTP, which I don't know a ton about, but it helps your body produce the hormones for sleep.
Yeah, I've used that for years.
Oh, you've been taking that?
Mm-hmm.
Louise,
It was prescribed by a doctor.
Your doctor told you about that?
Mm-hmm. I use a very good brand though. So one time I decided to go cheap, and it was not a good thing to go cheap.
Okay. Would you mind sharing with me what brand you use so that I can pass that on?
Yeah, I use Designs for Health.
Okay.
I've been using it for years.
Okay.
Along with diffusing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Also, you know, mental booster, you know, helps against, you know, I can't say depression, but just kind of an uplifter.
Okay. So is that something you take during the day and at night, or just
No,
before
I
bed?
take 2 at night.
Okay.
Now, I will say, so when, you know, when Charles was going through what he was going through, I did take 2 during the day as well.
Okay.
But now I take 2 at night.
Okay. And it
You know,
didn't.
I'm sleeping well now, so I don't want to mess anything.
Right. You got the formula. You got it set exactly. But it didn't make you sleepy during the day when you took it?
No.
Okay. Okay, good to know.
I think it was just a kind of a calmer, just a kind of an equalizer, you know, just.
Okay, good to know. And then the last thing I have on my list is tart cherry juice. That is recommended for healthy sleep as well. So keeping your routine consistent is important. You can obviously play around with what combination works for you, whether it's doing some yoga or some calming, stretching right before bed. But you want to budget at least 30 minutes of wind down time. So if you can go in your room, I mean, when I say this, I almost giggle because I'm thinking of Melinda in her house. Like, she can't go in her room and be alone for 30 minutes before she goes to bed. But ideally, you would, have some downtime where you might stretch, you might take a bath, like you turn down the lights to signal to your brain, you turn off that technology. Ideally, you're going to unplug. It's very mentally stimulating to be on the computer or the phone. So at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. Like you were sharing, Louise, that you set a timer, an alarm to get up every morning at the same time. That has shown to be really useful and important, to get up at the same time, even on those days that you don't need to. And then this one's the saddest one for me, is don't nap. So I like napping, but if you do nap, to keep it less than 20 minutes. Yeah, so there's all kinds of tips and things out there, but I think what's really something that's helped me is, my mom actually taught me this, to keep a pad of paper and a pen by your bed so that you don't just toss and turn. If you really are having a hard time going to sleep, allow yourself to wake up and write down like your to-do list or anything that you're worrying, so you don't have to keep it in your head. You can just release it and go back to sleep. So I'm hoping between, taking care of your day routine and making sure that you're getting that good exercise, figuring out a going to bed routine, 30 minutes of relaxation time, using your oils, and hopefully these tips will help you get a great night's sleep. Any questions, comments?
So do you, when you diffuse your oils, because I do diffuse oils every night, so do you switch them up in terms of what you use? I mean, I guess the question is, does our body get so accustomed to oil that maybe one day it's not quite as effective? I guess that would be the question.
Right. I've asked that question, and what was told to me is, it's not that the body gets used to the oil, but sometimes having it on constantly, it becomes a little bit less effective over time in your room. Right away that you're getting a big dose, and then it's diffusing, it's all over your room, and it's not as potent right there by your face, but that's okay with me. But they do make diffusers that have an on-off, like a pause, or I'm not sure which doTERRA diffuser does this, but it plays for 30 seconds. No, it runs for 3 minutes and then rests for 30 seconds, runs for 3 minutes, so that it kind of reawakens your senses to it.
But I'm talking about the actual oils themselves.
Right. I don't think
does our body get used to, say, the lavender and cedarwood? So I've been using like Serenity and cedarwood,
good.
Just combined,
Yeah.
or maybe Breathe and vetiver, or and I switch those four up,
Yep.
just kind of whatever, and
Yep.
they all seem to work. But I wasn't sure whether your body just kind of gets accustomed to an oil and then it may not be as effective.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think our bodies utilize it as we need it.
Okay.
And those oils are adaptogenic, so some days you may not need the lavender and it's running in your room and your body's just smelling it, and you're not really utilizing it as efficiently as another day that your body really needs it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I know my sister, there's been a lot going on in her life. She's been doing, one of her friends who is an RN, and her husband went through cancer, and the only thing that would help him was doing this concoction of like copiaba, lavender, and cedarwood to help with this, pain and sleep. And so she's been doing that and making a little roller ball and on her feet, and has really helped her because there's a lot going on. So getting at least 5 hours of sleep has been good for her, continuous, and so it's been really good for me to hear that's been helpful for her, as well as the Serenity capsules too. So
Yeah.
Well, my daughter, all her family takes the Serenity capsule.
I know every night Brendan's like, Mom, can I get my Serenity? Mom, can I have my Serenity? It's like, go for it. I want you to sleep.
I know. I mean, when I travel, when I used to, to my aunt, I would hold a diffuser because, that was the best thing. But, then I learned if I'm only going to be gone a couple nights, I can do the Serenity or, the roller bottles. I've just kind of discovered doing the roller bottles with this. But always my favorite is having my diffuser going. Thank you to Jolie.
Well,
I have a question. You said the guy who said 2 sessions of 20 minutes a day will reduce hot flashes. Is that like meditation?
yes.
Okay.
2 sessions of meditation. So when I read the article, people interpreted meditation in a different way. Some people that was doing yoga was a physical meditation. For other people, that was literally sitting still and doing breathe the energy in and exhale. And then other people, it was prayer, just being silent in prayer. I think the important thing there is that we don't stay at fight or flight all the time. Like we give our body that pause, and we train our body that's normal.
Right.
Calm is the normal, not living up there.
Right. Well, Stephen, I think about that. It's like training your kids to be able to have that calm, right? Like mid-morning or mid-afternoon, like get that calm in, because it also sets them up for the rest of their life too. A habit, right? That's like a new revelation for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna apply.
You know what, Melinda? This is off subject of sleep, but I have the cutest Babar yoga book that I did with my kids. I'm going to pass it on to you to use. I want it back because I'm going to do it with my grandbabies someday. It's so cute, and it's such a great little break, teaching good habits. Like, okay, we're going to take a yoga break. Let's stretch. And it's cute little pictures of Babar. Anyway.
That's great.
Anyway, ladies, thank you for coming. Any questions, comments? Was this useful? Did anyone learn anything?
Yeah, I thought it was very good. And I wanted to say the mindfulness, and, you've been talking about this, and I think it's so true. Deal with it now because, we all have different situations going on in our lives, whether it's with children or grandchildren or husbands or friends or whoever. And, it's so easy to think, oh, I just don't want to deal with that now. Then it comes up at night, or at least it does for me.
Yes.
I am alone. And I think too, because I am alone, I have to even be more mindful because I don't have someone to talk about some things with that might be, just to converse with. Right. And so that's been really good because, we all know that at night our minds can just go crazy.
Yes. Yes. I know, that's the worst.
I love that you all do these short little classes at a time that's good. And good time. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
I thought it was great too. Yeah. I guess my question was about the electronics. You said to turn them off 30 minutes before going to bed, or 30 minutes before like you plan to fall asleep. I wasn't quite sure on that.
Right. I think the minimum is turn it off 30 minutes before you go to bed. So when you're having your 30-minute wind down time, it's not by you. You're not looking at it. You're not stimulated by it. Yeah. But for some people, it might be variable. Some people might need an hour. Right. But I know for me, if I watch TV at night, I'm stimulated. I'm like in the show, and like, I'm such an extrovert that just having people on the screen, makes me stimulated. So
Right.
I've learned that I don't watch TV at night. You know?
Okay. I guess like it hasn't really been affecting my like ability to fall asleep, and I'm wondering if it like affects my actual sleep like during the night, or
Right.
Right.
It
if
could
that
be
has any
affecting
effect
your,
on.
yeah, it could be affecting your quality of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have your phone in your room, because I know we say, oh, it's better to have your phone away, but I personally, my parents are older. If they wanted to get a hold of me, I feel like I need to have the phone there. I've got teenagers that are out and about. I feel like I want to have my phone by me. But you can turn your phone on airplane mode,
Mm-hmm.
and that will prevent that constant signal, because every 30 seconds there's a signal to your phone from the antenna. So we can stop that at least, and then at least I can check my phone still. I feel safe, but
Yeah.
it's not keeping me
Just
awake.
just by putting it in airplane mode though.
Right. So I put it in airplane mode and don't look at it until the next morning, unless I'm worried about something.
But it ring? Would it ring if there was an emergency?
It would not, but I feel like I could check to see, like, okay, why is Dominic not home? I can check if I needed to, and it might say, oh, okay, I'll be 15 minutes late or whatever. I'm like, okay, I can go back to sleep.
Okay, so it's just not dinging.
It's not dinging, and it's not making that connection to the satellite every 30 seconds, which has got to have an effect on us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I know another thing that I found out for myself, when I find out every time I talk to David at night, I fall asleep when he's talking, because we're in a good conversation. He hates it.
Yeah.
I go, but it's like, I need to talk to you more when I fall asleep, because I fall asleep so well. And then I was like, well, sometimes when I listen to like a sermon at night, like Francis Chan, he's really good, or I never get through it because I fall asleep. So sometimes just people's, like the word of people, and it's not always just music, but it's when it puts me to sleep, so that's another trick to try. It just works for me. I don't know why, but I don't know.
Music works for some people. I know Audible works for one of my sons. He just puts on his Audible book and he puts it on timer, so it turns off automatically. Another son, that keeps him awake because he's like trying to listen to the stories. Everyone's different.
Yeah, you got to figure out what's good for you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, thank you for coming. I will connect this to the email if you guys want to share it or whatever. But we appreciate you coming. You're the reason why we do these. And yeah, Melinda, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming, you guys. Thanks, Kelsey and Louise.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.